Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky and this video is going to be my summer reading challenge wrap-up. So between June and August, Victoria of What Victoria Read, who I will link down below, was hosting a summer reading challenge, 25 prompts, like low pressure, have fun, read some books kind of challenge. And I decided to take part because I needed a little bit more, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiration for my reading over the summer. I really wanted to get some books read over summer, and I did read some books over the summer. Most of the books that I read during August. A little bit of me is kicking myself for not like getting more motivated in June and July. Then I would definitely have finished the reading challenge, but I'm really happy with what I did manage to do. I completed 19 of the 25 prompts, and I started a couple of the others and got into a couple of books, but just didn't quite make it to the finish line, but that was absolutely fine. I loved that I got 19 books read over the summer that I definitely would not have read had it not been for the reading challenge. So all in all, my experience with the reading challenge, very positive. It was really nice to see what other people were reading for the reading challenge, and I found a couple of new booktubers from the reading challenge and also read a couple of books I probably wouldn't have read otherwise, and finished some books that probably would have otherwise just like DNF'd and not bothered with. And sometimes I think it's good to persevere with a book that might not be like, I don't know, a 5-star read. Not every book needs to be a 5-star read. So on to the books. I've got my reading journal here. I like to track my reads for the year, and I just track the dates, like start finish dates, title of the book, the author, whether I read it with my ears, with my eyes, on a Kindle, in a physical book, how many pages I read, and how many stars I gave it. So let me see. I'm going to go not in order of having read them because that's confusing, but I'm going to go in order, in prompt order. So the first prompt was to read a non-fiction book, and I had an audiobook version of Your Child Is Not Broken by Heidi Mavir. And this book is about parenting neurodivergent children, and it's just, I did a vlog, a reading vlog of it, and I talked about it a little bit during my July vlogs. It was a brilliant book. It's a great book if you are neurodivergent yourself, if you are a parent of a neurodivergent child, maybe you're both, maybe you have friends who have neurodivergent children. I fall into all of these categories, and it was such a great read. It made me feel like other people were going through similar sorts of things. It's not like a sort of, here is how to parent your neurodivergent child. It's very much like, this was my experience of having a neurodivergent child. So, but it was really, really good. Really, really enjoyed it. So that was the first book. That got 5 stars. The next prompt on the list is cozy fiction. And for that, I read Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldry. And I read this combination physical and Kindle. I read really quickly on the Kindle, so I kind of got to a point where I was like, I just need to read this book fast. And I so switched to the Kindle. Loved this book. It is super cozy. It is just everything wonderful about, like, I don't know, fantasy, little bit of like light romance, not spicy. It is just funny, and yeah, I loved it. 5 stars. I'm gonna have to be quicker with these. Otherwise I'm not going to have time. So the next prompt was literary fiction, and I didn't get around to this one. I had picked a book for it. I'd picked Oxblood by Tom Benn, which I had previously started and just wasn't in the right mood for, and so I'd put it back on my list to try and read it again and just never got around to it. I'm going to keep it on my list and then I might add it back in for my autumn reading challenge, autumn winter reading challenge that Victoria is going to be hosting. So I'm going to definitely keep it on my radar for that, but I didn't get around to it this time. The next prompt was international author, and I had a couple of different ideas for this one, but just from jiggery pokery to like maximise on what I was reading and what I was feeling in the mood to read, I changed it up. So I started reading The Maid by Nita, can't remember what the author is called, I'll put picture and things here so you'll see the name of the author. I've heard good things about The Maid. I am enjoying it so far. I'm reading it on the Kindle. I think I got it on Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, I'm enjoying that, but I haven't finished it. I imagine it's the kind of thing that once I get like properly into it, it's going to go really fast. But I just hadn't quite gotten there at the right time in order to finish that. The next prompt was fantasy / romantasy, and I read Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by E Schwab. I've talked quite a lot about this. I think this was one of the first books that I read for the challenge. So, and I'm not someone who really remembers what happens in books. I loved this book. I can remember how it made me feel, and it made me feel all the feels. I loved it. There was a point towards the end where I was like, oh no, I think she might have just totally ruined this. But she hadn't. That's all. It was all fine. V. Schwab's one of my favourite authors. And yeah, basically anything she writes, I read. So this was great. 5 stars. Loved it. The next prompt was a retelling, and for that I read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and this was such an up and downy read for me. In the end I gave it 3.75 stars. Maybe I would give it a 4. I haven't been like thinking about it since I finished it. It started off quite well. It sort of is a quick start, like you're thrown into the story like really quickly, and that was nice. And then just in the middle it kind of got a bit, I don't know, slow, and then it kind of picked up again at the end. There was romance in there that I wasn't expecting. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it. I just didn't know a lot about the book before I started reading it, so I wasn't expecting it. I'm not familiar with the story that it is a retelling of. It's a Korean, what's the word they use? Legend. It's a Korean legend, not one that I've heard of before. I was drawn to it because it says that it's perfect for fans of Spirited Away, and I like Spirited Away. Definitely got Spirited Away vibes from it. It was a nice book. Like, if you like Spirited Away, I think you might enjoy this. It is YA, and I think, on reflection, that might be why I didn't enjoy it. It was just a bit slow for me, I think, because of the YA-ness of it. So, 3.75 stars. The next prompt was classic fiction, and I listened to I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. This was a re-listen for me. I'd listened to it before. Really loved this book. It was one of the first books, if not the first book, that I listened to on Audible. It's read by Jenny Agatha, is that what she's called? And she reads it really, really well. Yeah, I love it. It's like listening to somebody vlogging. And yeah, I love it. I'll probably listen to it again in a couple of years' time and still enjoy it just as much. 5 stars. 5 stars. I love it. Next prompt is borrowed book, and I borrowed Circe from my parents. I also borrowed the audiobook from Book Break, I think it's called. No, is that right? Book Beat. I got like a free trial of BookBeat and borrowed Circe, started listening to it, wasn't really enjoying the listen. Possibly just didn't have a chance to get into it, but I don't know what it was. I wasn't enjoying it, so I'm gonna forget about listening to it and I'm gonna read it with my eyeballs at some point, but I didn't complete that prompt for the challenge. Next was secondhand book, and I read The House We Grew Up In by Lisa Jewell. This was a really interesting read. It was very different to other Lisa Jewell books that I've read, but I did really enjoy it. It's about a woman and her struggles with hoarding and how it affects her family, and there's also like a bit of a mystery. Definitely check trigger warnings for this one. There's like a little bit of like a unknown amongst the family of what happened that night kind of thing, and that was really interesting. I was kind of expecting it to have like a big murder mystery twist type thing, and it didn't have that because it's a very different kind of book to the other ones that I've read. I still really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. Next, historical fiction. I listened to The Alice Network by Kate Quinn and I freaking loved it. I really loved it. That definitely got 5 stars, I think. Oh, I put 4.5 stars. I think I might have to change that. I think it was a 5-star read. I read, for the romance prompt, I read Dungeons and Drama by Kristy Boyce. Let me see what I gave that. I gave that 4.5. It's like, I'm trying to think what it's like. It's just the kind of like forced proximity, enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine type story. So if you like that kind of thing, then you would like this book. I think it's spice free, can't remember, but yeah, it was fun, and like I'm a bit of a board game geek, so I liked it from that extra little element. Not a 5-star read because it was just, there were a couple of points where I was like, oh, really? So it just didn't quite make it to 5 stars, but 4.5 is still pretty good going. The next book was Travel Book, and this one like stumped me for a little bit, and then I saw that Ali from This Little Wonderful Life, she was going to read this book for the prompt. I think in the end she read it for a different prompt, but I was like, I like this, the use of this book for this prompt, so I did the same thing. And that was Orbital by Samantha Harvey, and I tabbed and also highlighted and like put little sticky notes in and did some like actual like writing in the actual book kind of stuff with this one. So yeah, it was very thought-provoking, quite moving. There's not really a story. It's really interesting. Like, yeah, I would really recommend it, but be prepared that it's definitely going to be a thinky book, I think. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. So then there was like a self-care / free space, and Victoria said that this was just like an opportunity to do what one needs to do to carry on enjoying themselves. And I decided to read another book for this. You didn't have to read a book, you could just tick it off and like have a free space done. You could do whatever it was you needed to do, have a bath, whatever. But yeah, I decided to read a book because I had bought The Tenant by Freida McFadden and I really wanted to read it and I couldn't fit it in on any of the other prompts. So I put it in on this one and I was disappointed. I was really disappointed. I've read the Housemaid series by Freida McFadden and really enjoyed them. The Tenant I did not enjoy so much. I really hated the main guy. I found it really slow going. I know it's like fiction, but I found it a bit unbelievable. The twist, I didn't see the twist coming, so that was interesting. But the twist came at like 70%. I was reading it on the Kindle. It was like at the 70% mark, and I was really ready to give up. And I just thought, I'll just give it a little bit longer. By this point, maybe I should just carry on. And I'd like read some reviews, and I'd read that people were saying that twist though. And I was like, I don't feel like there's been a twist. What is the twist? And then I got to the twist and I was like, oh, right, okay. And it gave me enough interest to carry on going, but I was really, really disappointed. And then there's like a second twist right at the end, and that annoyed me even more because I didn't think we needed it at all. But yeah, so I was disappointed. I gave that 3 stars, which was a bit of a shame. The next book, the prompt was Crime and Mystery. I chose A Case of Life and Limb by Sally Smith, and I started reading this and I'm like 50 or so pages in and I haven't made it any further. I'm really, really enjoying it. I loved the first book in this series. I kind of wish I'd read it earlier, because then I probably would have stood a good chance of having finished it. But I am really, really enjoying it. I just need to get it out and pick it up and actually read it. The next prompt was manga / graphic novel. I read a few graphic novels, so I had one that I wanted to read, and that was Monstress by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda, I think. And I picked it up quite a few years ago, and like on a whim. The art is beautiful, and that's what drew me to get it. It's very dark, definitely one that I was like reading it and then the children would come over and I'd be like, let's just put that away. But I didn't really enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars. Next prompt was Backlist, and I went for The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell, and this was an excellent read. 5 stars, I think. Yeah, this was like what I was expecting from a Lisa Jewell book in comparison to the other one that I read. Like the other one was good, but this one was like what I read Lisa Jewell for. It's about like teenage parents who go missing and lots of things unfold, and it's really, really, really good. So I would definitely recommend that one. Trigger warnings, check them before you go ahead and read, but it was great. Next, self / indie published, I read Imperfect Shot by Ryann Fletcher, who is also gamer crafting. So if you are a crafty person, then you might know Ryann as gamer crafting, like on Instagram and stuff. And this is the second book in her Cricket series, Cricket Chronicles series. I think that's right. And I really enjoyed it. I'd read the first one last year, I think, and really, really enjoyed it. And I had this one on my Kindle already, ready to go. And again, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. Would recommend if you're into like space romance, like Firefly type things, then I would recommend it. It's good. The next book was, the prompt was middle grade / YA, and I had originally planned to read a middle grade book, but then I decided that there was a book that I had read a few years ago that I really wanted to reread. So that book was Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. And I read it, I think I must have won a copy from Goodreads or something, because I don't remember buying it. I don't remember being gifted it. I just remember having it. And I read it and I was like, And then since then, I've seen so many people talking about how amazing it is that I thought maybe I just did it wrong and I needed to do it again. So I got the audiobook version and I thought I can like speed it up a little bit because I already like vaguely know what's going on and I can just refresh my memory of it. And was I right? And I think I have scored it slightly higher. I gave it 3.5. I think previously I'd scored it like 2.5 or a 3. I did enjoy it. It is YA, so there was the YA thing that I think I am just like finished with YA. It was better than I remember it being. It's not my favourite Alice Oseman. I've read other things by Alice Oseman and really liked those. The next prompt was a beautiful book, and I didn't pick a book and I didn't read a book. So no idea. I have lots of beautiful books. I was just going to wait until I got to that one and read a beautiful book, and it just never happened. But that's fine. I can read beautiful books anytime. And then the next prompt was BIPOC author, and I listened to How Beautiful We Were by Imbolo and Mbue, and this was disappointing. There was a full cast, so every chapter seemed to have a different narrator, and that really confused me. There's just too many voices to get used to, and because you can't hear every voice in the preview, there was a couple of voices that I just didn't get along with as much, and so those chapters were a bit like harder to listen to. I definitely sped this one up towards the end to just get it finished. Definitely check the trigger warnings because there was a bit that I did not like. So there were a couple of bits that I didn't like, but there was one bit in particular that I really did not like. So check the trigger warnings for that one. There was just something about it that just didn't seem to quite hit the mark, for me at least. I wanted it to have a very different message. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be really interested to know if anyone's read it or listened to it. I'd be really interested to know how you felt when you'd finished it. I gave it 3 stars. The next prompt was a translated book, and I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. Oh, don't drop it. I gave this one, I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It was mixed pace. Well, no, it's slow pace, but for me it was kind of like mixed levels of interest. There were some of the stories I found more interesting than others. I laughed, I cried. It was a good read. Next big book, 400 plus pages. I listened to Human Rights by Gina Dawson. Loved it. Last book in the Her Majesty's Royal Coven series. Loved it. Yeah. Laughed, cried. Had all the feelings. Was like shocked and all of the things. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect while I was listening, but I loved it. I really loved it. I was sad when it finished. I want there to be more, but I also don't, because like, how often do you get a trilogy that really just like hits the mark in every single book? Like all 3 books, 5 stars. They like, and the novella was a bit of a blip for me, but I think that was more me than the book. But like, I'm so happy with the trilogy. But I want more, but I also don't, because I feel like there's just the potential that it would be too much. But yeah, I loved it. And then we've got Animal on the Cover. I read Last Gifts of the Universe by Riley August. I loved this book. This was like, picked it up on a whim in Waterstones. It was book of the month. I've got a little kitty, oh, wrong way around. A little kitty bookmarker thing from just like a funny scene And it was funny and like also sad, and yeah, and it's a quick read. I would really recommend it. I've like recommended it to my mum. Every time Andrew says that he needs a new book to read, I'm like, you haven't read this book yet. You don't need a new book to read because you've got this one. But I really, really loved it. Would recommend that if you're looking for like space but not sci-fi. Again, it's got like a little bit of a sort of Firefly feel to it. But it's not like heavily sci-fi. Then seasonal, I started reading Rewitched, and I'm really enjoying it. The problem with this one was that I started to vlog me reading it, and then I could only read it when I was vlogging it. So that was a little bit of an oversight on my part. So I'm about 100 pages in and I'm really enjoying it, but I've just kind of got myself into this place where I'm like, if I'm going to read that book, then I need to vlog it. Queer book is the final prompt, and I read Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman, and I really love Nick and Charlie. So having said, I think I'm over YA. I think I'm done with YA. I'm not, if it's Nick and Charlie, because I really like Nick and Charlie. That is it for my summer reading challenge wrap up. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I think we hear about that in September, middle of September, so probably by the time this video goes up, that one will have been announced. And then I'm going to do a video with like my plans for the next challenge. I would like to use it as an opportunity to get through some of my audiobooks and some of my Kindle books, because it's going to be starting in October and I'm going to have a baby in October. So I'm thinking Kindle and audiobook are going to be like far easier for me to read with a newborn than like trying to juggle a baby and a physical book. So I might get a couple of my physical books read in the early part of October, and then switch up to my Kindle and my audiobook. And I have got so many audiobooks particularly that I would like to get through. So I think it's gonna be a really nice opportunity for me to do that. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.